Hello! Is your pastor a great communicator? Are they a great preacher? Do they keep people connected with them the whole sermon? Is your church full of people who are excited to hear great preaching every week? Okay, I didn't think so. But don't give up. Everyone can improve. Seriously, everyone can. Stick around, and I'll tell you how to help your pastor become a great preacher. Welcome to Coffee with Coach. I have 3 goals for these videos to help you become a better church leader, to save you time and money, to help educate, energize, and motivate you to energize and motivate your church. The problem is, most pastors are poorly trained to be effective preachers. So today I want to talk about how to help make your pastor a better preacher. Now, if you're a preacher and you're listening to this video, you can take this and use it as well. You can use it from your standpoint. If you're a lay person, you can use this and ask your pastor if this will work. Both of you, tackle it from different sides. But to help your pastor preach better, you have to give them feedback. So if you're the preacher and you'd like to have feedback, you can use this plan. If you're a layperson and you have a terrible preacher and you want to help them be better, you can use this plan. It's easy. Number 1, select 3 people from the congregation that your pastor respects and admires to meet as the pastor's support group. Just 3, no more. And no critics, only people who are known supporters. These are people who love your pastor even though they're a terrible preacher. Or adequate preacher, but could be better. So these 3 people have the pastor's love and respect. And when they speak lovingly and respectfully to their pastor, the pastor is more likely to listen and give it some credence. If you select critics who are always coming up with reasons that the pastor should be better, the pastor isn't going to listen to them because that just gets tiresome and it's hurtful and it's painful and you just don't want to do that. So 3 people that the pastor knows, maybe even loves and respects and will listen to. Have a pre-meeting without the pastor, just the lady. Lay down the items to be discussed. Write them on an agenda. Print it out for everybody. These are things the pastor does really, really well. These are things the pastor doesn't do very well. These are things where the pastor fails every single week and people hate it. There might be some of those. Write them down. Talk about them together. What's the best way for loving people to broach these subjects with your pastor? You might not want to do that the first week. You might want to wait. But think about it. This should be a planned meeting. Then invite the pastor to join your group with the intent to help them become a better preacher and communicator. Now you have to invite, and this is the tough part. The pastor might be terribly threatened by this process. So that's why 3 people who love the pastor and have his love and support, her love and support, who have the pastor's love and support, have to be the ones who ask the pastor to join. Invite the pastor. Invite the pastor lovingly. This is something we would like to do. We will devote this time every month to meeting with you with the hope that you can learn and we'll get better sermons. So then meet with the pastor monthly in confidence. This group does not report to any other group in the church. This is not a subcommittee of SPRC. You don't talk to the district superintendent. You don't talk to anybody else. This is just your private little group of 4. And the rules for the meeting are these. Affirm those things the pastor did really well last month or last week in the last sermons. At least 3 things that the pastor did really well. Give a grade to each sermon the last month. For each sermon, give no more than 3 reasons to like it and 1 or 2 reasons that you didn't like it. If you have more than 5, it gets tedious. So, reasons to like it, reasons not to like it. Give 3 suggestions to think about improving in the next month. More illustrations, fewer personal stories, stronger connection to the text. You get the idea. 3 suggestions that you think the pastor could improve their preaching. I know some pastors have the biblical text every week and spend the whole time talking about the text. It's not a Bible study class. It's a sermon. I know other pastors who read the text, completely ignore it, and say what they want to say. Well, it should be related to something Jesus has taught us. So you need to think about those things in relationship to text. Share ideas about better ways to reach the existing members. Well, Pastor, you do realize that all of the people in the congregation are over 70 years old, so continuing to use hip-hop illustrations probably doesn't reach them. And then share ideas about preaching to that group that's just starting to come, or maybe your target group if you have decided to reach out to a specific group of people. What illustrations, what methods might you use to reach that group of people? End this meeting by affirming your faith in the pastor and your commitment to helping the pastor improve. We will continue to meet with you for a full year at least. Now, it's important to share your belief that your pastor has greatness built into them. You believe that they can be a great preacher and a great pastor, and that's why you're here, devoting your time to helping them do that. Your belief in your pastor's greatness is what's going to make it possible for them to improve. Finally, pray for your pastor before leaving. Pray lovingly, compassionately. Pray about the pastor's needs. Pray about the pastor's family. Pray for the pastor and love them. Really powerfully love them with your prayers. Now, do that for a full year, but don't meet during the summer. I mean, give everybody some time off. So not more than 9 times a year, mostly during the year. Maybe you take off Holy Week if that's when it falls, and maybe not so much in December, but pretty much regularly all year long, with the intent that over time, bit by bit, the pastor is going to improve. And when the pastor incorporates those things that you've suggested, praise them highly for what they've done. Make sure they know that you are watching and you are listening and you appreciate the effort that they're making to do this better. But always make sure that the pastor feels your love and support all the time. Be patient. Give it time. Because God changes things over time. And see if God does not move to build a better preacher in your preacher. Now, if you're the preacher, you do the same thing. But you invite 3 of your friends, and you give them the task, and you give them the outline that I just gave you, and you have them meet without you, and then they have them meet with you. You can do this, and you will love it, because your people will respond more readily to your preaching, and your ministry will take off in new and more wonderful ways. Try it. I think you'll like it. That's it for this week. If you find these videos helpful, I hope you will subscribe to my channel. And if you have questions or comments, please consider adding them below or emailing me at steve@revstevep.com. Next week, we're going to talk about how to do better planning with your church council. I think you'll find that interesting. Also, watch for my new podcast coming in Lent. It's already up now, called A Talk with Peter, daily readings from the book of Mark. And soon, The Caffeinated Pulpit, a site for preachers and church leaders to think about how you're moving your church forward. Coming to a hosting site near you very soon. That's it for this week on Coffee with Coach. Have a great week.